We continue with a similar setting, albeit with a smaller group and with a different subject, the co-economy. We live in a day and age in which the consumer is ever better informed and more demanding. The question is, does this affect the traditional relationship between the client and the designer? And if so, how does it affect this relationship? Will they take the end user into account as a third party and try to co-create a design that works better in the end for all parties? This is a discussion I would like to have with a person that just landed at Schiphol and was the reason why we delayed the whole program with half an hour. So I'm extremely happy he could make it, and I'm really grateful that he took the time to fly over from Milan just for today, just to have this discussion here on stage. Please welcome Piero Lissoni. And the other person I would like to invite to stage is Liran Wizman, the founder of EHPC, the hospitality partner that we have been working for 2 years now consecutively. Liran Wizman, warm welcome, please. Piero, how are you?
Quite well, thank you.
Your flight was delayed, but you're okay nevertheless?
I like to be precise. The flight, it was perfect. I chose the wrong airport. I tried to be precise, and this morning,
Hi, how are you?
I was in front of the screen in Linate. No one flight to Amsterdam. What happened? It was in Malpensa. Sorry. Thank you,
Thanks for being so candid. Please take a seat, and let me sit at the other side of you. Please take a seat here.
Ah, fantastic.
So a little bit of introduction. I mean, I don't need to introduce both of you, but I need to introduce why you are here together. Liran, you run a hospitality business. Piero, you run a design operation, a design business. And you are collaborating on a project in Milan. It's the Edition Hotel, and it will open when?
Ask Piero. Next week I have a meeting with the Sovrintendenza, which is our monument committee. But if everything will go well, I think in 2 years it will be opened.
And it has been in the making for how many years? 5 years.
5 years, because it's protected. The landmark offices, they take care for each small brick inside. And it's not easy to design something and to combine together new architecture with old building. You know, it's like to sew it something very complicated. Anyway, we are ready to start, and I think we are ready to move inside more or less in 2 years.
Mm-hmm. So I was just talking about the traditional relationship between designer and client, and maybe the end user should be part of that relationship, but actually I was missing out on local municipality, making things increasingly difficult, maybe especially when working on a monument like the one you're working on right now. So Liran, how did you meet Piero? Why did you choose Piero to work on this particular hotel?
I think for me it's very obvious. I'm following Piero for many, many years. I remember the first time that I saw his work was in a Mamila Hotel in Jerusalem. And for me, I was astonished by this combination. I don't know if any of you have been there, but it's a very old Jerusalem stone building. And the combination between the glass, the new and the old, that he put together with with a lot of respect to the building, and still making it something very futuristic in the other hand. And this was one point that was really, I was super impressed by. And the second was the interior, keeping the restraint, keeping it very minimalistic, but still very, very warm. For me, you know, the space there was such a flabbergasting space. I was amazed. And then, of course, Conservatorium in Amsterdam was also in the same direction. And I think the next level, which was for me, it's one of the most beautiful hotels in the world. And we have a mutual friend, the GACO group, Alex and Mickey. They introduced us. And via other friends, also via Ian Schrager, that recommend to speak. And I think, you know, Piero is a local hero in Milan. And to take this kind of building that you see on the screen and to give it a new life, it was very, very obvious that he's the right person to do it. And I'm very happy with it.
Because he's a local hero or for other reasons?
It's so many reasons. Because he's an amazing architect, also amazing interior designer. Of course, if Piero built something in Milan, it's you know, get the right attention. All those together makes it amazing hotel.
So Piero, if you look at the client-designer relationship, you've been in the business for quite a while. How did it change over the years?
Wow, such a great,
It's a broad question, I know.
such a question.
What makes, in your opinion, a good client?
A good espresso. You know, when we started to discuss together, me and Liran, the main topics, it was not in which way it was possible to design something and to manage something together. But the idea, in my mind, it was the first appointment, the first meeting, it was inside in a W in Amsterdam, and we were sitting around of a table with a fantastic espresso. Macchiato, of course, with sparkling water and the other good thoughts. You know, if you start in that way, is a client. If you start in the cool way, you know, we start with the classical shaking hands and distances, and you start to think, okay, we offer to you the possibility to design something, is more or less wrong. Espresso. First topic is espresso, and the second one is the soul. Because if you put inside soul in a project, you transform something in a creator. If you don't put inside the soul, the wishes, dreams, and capacity to looking forward, something happens. But believe, without a good espresso in between,
It doesn't work.
forget it. Forget it.
Apologies. Now, you're working on this hotel called The Edition. That's a brand in itself, right?
No.
Whereas you have a brand, EHBC, and you are a brand, Piero Lissoni. So how do you make this all work?
You answer or I answer?
I can answer and then
I answer.
you answer. Maybe better. I know.
Now, you know, everything inside in such a complexity, in the end is a collaboration. And the collaboration is the key. Because when you start to work with many different main actors, you need to be very open-minded and you need to be creative, but you need to jump inside in a collaboration. A collaboration, it means, is not a compromise, it's to accept many different compromises. The collaboration is accept many different point of view. You know, I'm Milanese, Ian Schrager is from New York, Liran Wizman is from all over the world. You know, you need to discuss together and to open one link, and after that, you found a new language, and that's it, not more.
But you have a very distinctive language.
Yeah, but everybody is with a distinct, you know, with a particular and precise language, not only me. But the capacity is to adapt yourself to push a little bit yourself, and to combine together and to glue together many different aspects. Again, it's a language. But it's not a classical Esperanto when you glue together Spanish with Sweden, German, Italian, something like that. You know, it's a language.
But I'm sure that you have your preferences based on your experiences. You have your wishes in terms of, I don't know, perhaps integrating certain technologies or certain ways to address hospitality. How do you make sure that Piero addresses them, your needs?
To start with just to say, with how you have so many partners like Edition, our company, EHPC, and Piero, that is a brand. I think, first of all, the foundation, first, it's always about people and collaboration, that's for sure, and it's not easy, you know, it's not like just putting the hotel and, you know, everybody have his opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think the foundation of all those people have a very, I think is very, very similar. The minimalistic, very, you know, very defined, and the first person that Ian wanted to take when we spoke about who will design this hotel was Piero. So for him it was
Ian chose Piero, not you.
I met Piero and I spoke to him about it, but Ian as well told me this is the person. You know, he didn't even think about somebody else. And I think also when you have this dream team on the table with these people, always there's a little bit of tension, but I think it's a very healthy tension. And also that's what bringing also the hotels to the next level.
But who is making the final decision? Is that you? Is that you? Is it Ian?
Depends where, depends, you know. No.
This is not political enough.
No. You know, Piero do it on an espresso way, you know, very delicate, but at the end, you know, you don't like it, we do something else, but at the end we do whatever he wants, because it has to be, you know, in the language of Piero. And I think at the end of the day, such a good team in one place, and good leaders, and at the end, the leaders are the ones that stay there and not in the US, is what makes really an amazing hotel.
But I can imagine that if you design for a brand like The Edition, run by Americans, there will be legal contracts of many, many pages. Brand, you're smiling.
Yeah.
You recognize this. There are brand demands that I don't have a clue of, but you already close your eyes and shake your head.
Yeah.
Don't say anymore.
But it's the opposite in that hotel, because I built, I don't know, over 100 hotels with Marriott, with Starwood, with all the companies, and always it's all about the standard and the system, but in that hotel, the people that build it are so strong, Piero and Ian, and there's so many opinions, so many things that people want to do, that the standard becoming so small suddenly, you know, it's not an issue anymore. So I think that was not our main problem in this hotel.
What was the main problem?
No, the main problem is to bring, you know, so many talents into one product. That is what you see here in the hotel. And it's done. We did it. You can see in the pictures. Beautiful, yes. Almost the same, maybe. But
it's the first time I see these images. So let me.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah. Because, you know, I destroy everything in my mind, and I redesign everything totally squared and flat. I saw today for the first time the images too. Not so bad. What do you think?
So you bring these great minds and these great talents together. You, yourself, Ian Traeger and his team. But what about the end user? How do you take them into account? Do you take them into account at all? I mean, you know, today's clients, and you know that better than me, are very demanding. and especially a younger clientele is very demanding because very well informed, used to luxury, used to personalization. Do you ever take the end user into account?
Always. I think this is, I think one of what happened in hospitality today compared to what happened 20 or 30 years ago is that everything is constantly changing. And I think if you stuck into these boxes of what is luxury or you know, how hotels should look like to the old boxes, I think people will not come. You know, people have different demand, people want different things. For example, one of the things that the places that I built, I don't even want to call them hotel. You know, we took a whole floor of 2,500 square meter and deleted the room there and made all public areas, meeting spaces, private rooms, public rooms, extending the public area, bring the city into the hotel, and not to really connect the hotel with the neighborhood. So I think one of the main things that make the difference of today is that there's no borders, and in this place that we call a hotel, a lot of other things happening, and I think this is the main change, and we implement it all the time.
Have you seen that happen too in your practice?
Yes, yes, because in the past the hotel there was a private creator. Now the hotel they become a community. You know, we become builders of community. If you design a good spaces, and they talk about those spaces, you design a community. It's a completely reversal point of view. You know, in the past, it was enough sometimes to design a beautiful space with luxurious ideas inside. Now they ask me to design something to transform one space in a community.
How
it's alive inside, it's changed everything.
How did this affect the design of spaces?
The effect is quite revolutionary because think about the public spaces. Before there was, in a social way, there was a little bit cold, a little bit distant to you. It was impressive without sometimes without any reasons. Now when you design the new space in a hotel, the public spaces, they become a real space where the people live there, when the people, they spend time there, when the people, they spend energies there. You know, you organize meeting, you see your friends, you were there, you spend a lot of time. It's a completely different than before. Before, the people, they use the public spaces only for waiting taxi or for, you know, to stay there for lose time. Now they become a new, in a business way, is a new main course, you know, main food inside an hotel.
And how did the look and feel of that spaces change over time? How do you make them actually public spaces that people use?
It depends on the different languages in design and depend of the building, you know. For example, in Milano, the building is a very antique. It's a very antique palace. And of course, for us, it was quite easy to adjust our idea to put inside because we are thinking to replace again the life like before, you know, in a palace. We offer the idea to redesign the life inside with the special spaces, with a special attitude, the garden in the middle of the courtyard. You know, we're thinking to reuse like in the past. But in the same time, we put inside a lot of different functions. Think about the main floor, we put inside more or less one bar, 2 restaurants, public areas, but all of them, they are connected, and sometimes we disconnect with some tricks, you know, and everything is become super private. Like in the original palace, you know, public spaces and private spaces in the same time.
If you look at,
but of course, I put inside some secrets, but I don't like to talk about too much because otherwise, you know, I destroy the surprise. Wait 2 years, move inside, rent the rooms, and after that you describe and you discover something different.
These secrets, do they deal with design? Do they deal with functionality, with a program?
I don't know, because again, we discuss all the time around of functionality, beauty, and design. Luckily, I'm well known worldwide because I never design something functional. You know, if I design something, it's more or less unfunctional. If I design a sofa, it's for sure unbelievable, uncomfortable. You know, can you imagine if I design a hotel? More or less is wrong. Anyway, we put inside a lot of functionality, but at the same time we put inside, and I like to force the view, we put inside a lot of beauty. Because the place is unbelievable, it's amazing, it's so beautiful. Without me, you know, it's naturally beautiful. I only try to clean everything and to put inside some gentle things and some gentle touch. That's it.
Isn't that a really difficult task for a designer to actually do nothing?
Oh, listen, it's so easy. You know, they pay you, you don't move one finger. In the end, snap, something happened.
Must be the best paid job ever.
Yes, of course. But you need to be a little bit Italian in some time. You need to be a little bit more Milanese for that. But it's very difficult. Okay, now I stop to be stupid, sorry. Working inside in one place like this, with a lot of energies, with incredible beauty, the beautiness inside in this building is incredible. You need to be very, very, very gentle. It means every day you have to cut your ego and you have to start to think, okay, I'm not against, but I am for.
I want to get back to your relationship.
It's enough.
Yeah.
So you have a very specific idea how to deal with this particular palace. I've been there, I think, 2 years ago at the Milan Design Week when it was completely empty, and indeed, I must agree, it's the most fantastic space, as is.
Yep.
So I can imagine that as a designer, it's a challenge to actually do as little as possible and to make the space accessible for people, enjoyable, and make it work for, in this case, Liran. But how does this function in reality? I mean, do you receive a very specific brief from Liran? Do you brief Piero in a very specific way? Or do you just say, this is the building, this is what I want to do, I need 2 restaurants, 1 cafe, a public area, a reception counter, and go ahead?
No.
How does this work?
No.
How does this work?
It's full of rules. Come on. You are talking, and Liran is just talking about a combination with many different actors inside. But in a stage, you know, Liran, he know very well what happened inside in one machine like that. And he fix everything. How many seats, how many rooms, logistic, movement, restaurants, bar, you know, everything. It's, you know, it's not a hobby.
It's my hobby.
It's your hobby. For me, it's a professional way. But anyway, ask him. Ask Liran. He knows better than me.
I think it's not that clear like he said it. I think we come with an idea, and you know what we do. We're known for you know creating a space, creating one place with a lot of venues, like I don't know, like we did in W in Amsterdam or in the Sir hotels, to really bring a lot of different powers to one building and bring people from all directions. And I think in Milano it's really extreme, because there you really have a few restaurants and a lot of office space and meeting space and a nightclub, and you have everything there. So we come with the idea. and we develop it together. So we sit together with the talents, with Piero, and sometimes with the people that work with him, and starting to discuss what will be where and what is the functionality, and really to lock the floor plans and make it that it works. I know at the beginning our floor plan changed already 3 times because of many other issues, but also because of things that Piero came with, and that this will not work, this will work, let's do it like that. And I think now we got a really good floor plan, but it's a teamwork to bring it to this level. For me, that's the most important. It's really to define what will be where.
What will be where?
Yeah, where will be the restaurant, where will be the rooms, how many rooms, how will be the circulation of the entrance. And this is a teamwork that we do together.
So together you define more or less the floor plan, where will be what, how big spaces will be for the restaurant, etc., etc.
Yeah, how many rooms, how many suites, how many standards, how big, you have to jump inside in, it's like an alphabet, you need to jump inside time by, or if you like, it's like a big mathematical movement. You need to know very well the numbers. And I never believe in a romantic idea, if you design something beautiful, it's enough. No way. You need to respect a lot of rules. And the rules, they are unbelievably precise, You need only to be on the line to respect the rules. Think about how many times we design something wrong, I don't know, without back of house or without services or normal stupid things. Because I'm thinking, oh my God, it's such a stupid thing. Why I have to put inside? Come on. When you discuss together, you discover something is not really stupid, and you need to respect. And for the rest, if you design something for the next 20 years, you try to imagine in your mind which kind of technologies you put inside, in which way it's possible to be sophisticated enough, not boring enough, and to be a bit creative enough.
So you design for the next 20 years, this hotel?
More than 20 years.
More than 20 years.
Yes.
How can you make sure that the design of this hotel will be future-proof? Because as we discussed this morning, a lot of things are happening around us. We are better informed than ever before. Clients are more demanding than ever before. The speed at which the world develops is amazing. So how can you make sure that you can design something that will last and be good for 20 years?
Specifically to this building, you almost cannot touch anything. So we're not doing a lot of changes. So it's going to stay the same as it looked before. But to your question, how you do that? Look, you cannot see the future, but there is a very clear path where everything going to much more open, no borders, much less private. That's what I feel what we have from user today. Of course, you have also private places that you need to have in the hotel, and of course, the sofa and things that Piero, although I saw hotels that Piero did that stay there for 20 years or more, but those things are changing. But I think the fundamental stay the same.
Piero, you've worked with a lot of clients. You've designed a lot of hotels. What kind of client is Liran?
I told you before.
Apart from the good espresso, macchiato.
Espresso macchiato.
I moved. I was with Americano since I know him.
In the end, all clients, they are similar, but in the end, everybody, they are different. And Liran is similar for many reasons and totally different for some other reasons, Each client, it's a client, is the client. And when we start to discuss with Liran, it was for me interesting this dream, you know, to open something special in Milano, inside in a special place. Probably he didn't found, in that time he didn't found exactly the place, but you know, when we start to discuss together, I follow this level of dreamings. Without dream, honestly, I never choose one project and never choose a client. Because if you ask me to repeat something, or if you ask me to do something because you like it, come on.
What was the dream?
Choose another one. The dream it was to design something, a new hotel in Milano, more Milanese than the classical Milanese hotel. Liran is talking about, I like the idea to open the most incredible restaurants in Milano inside in a hotel for the all Milanese people, better than the classical Milanese restaurants. Come on. It's fantastic or not?
That's a really impressive dream. That's an ambitious dream.
I like the idea to keep people from Milano inside in our courtyard to drink the best martini cocktail in town. It's fantastical.
How do you design for that?
I don't know. I drink a lot of martinis and it's enough.
I see we're running out of time. Last question for both of you. What is your dream, Piero? I mean, you spoke about Liran's dream. What's your dream?
Inside in a hotel or generally speaking?
Generally speaking.
Oh my God, a good dream, it's to be surprised every morning and to wake up every morning like a child, like in a children's oath. Every morning I wake up with the idea to play again a new game.
Are you living a dream?
Oh, yes, luckily, yes. Otherwise, you know, I don't talk about of creativity, but I talk about of the classical qualities of life. Can you imagine without dream? No dreams, no parties.
And
Liran, what's your dream? I mean, you have a string of hotels.
I love what I do. It's my dream. But first of all, to finish all the hotel that I'm building now, and when it's finished, take a little bit of time and travel with them, with my family, and enjoy it also. Is here, and yeah, I think it's so fascinating, you know, to be in this world, in this changing world, you know, hospitality, restaurant, hotels, work with this kind of people. It's a huge privilege for me, and I'm living the dream.
Thank you both. Thank you, Piero, for flying over from Milan. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Liran.
Thank you.
You have also a really busy schedule. Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for being quite candid about the relationship you both have and being candid about your dreams.
Yeah. Thank you.
Applause for these guys. Thank you very much.